Hey everyone, welcome to 5v5 Live. That's Eric Kummel. I'm Matt Hempstead, and it is playoff weekend. We're here. We made it.
Whew. You know, that whole bye week, it was a struggle to get through. There were EU games, a lot of clowny games going on, which is always fun.
Not much meant much, I guess.
Not much meant much.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. But yeah, EU was pretty interesting. They don't get a bye week for some reason. They go right back into it.
You know, I think Riot's whole plan is to just be the opposite of NA. NA gets a bye week, EU doesn't. They just want to be different. I have no idea why.
Yeah, NA wins Rift Rivals, EU doesn't. You know,
that's the opposite.
It is the opposite. Keep it going. Anyways, we're gonna be talking a lot about playoffs today. So any questions you have about NA, EU, whatever's going on, let us know in the comments. Hit us up in chat, and we will answer them later on in the show once we get through our spiel. But first, spiel. It is a long spiel. Very first thing, we're gonna talk about some EU LCS matchups. Even though it's a pretty quick turnover from week 10 going right into it, I'm not exactly sure that there's going to be much surprises going on here. I mean, you've got the Unicorns of Love against Misfits, which God knows what could happen in that series. And then G2 against Splice, which seems pretty one-sided. So what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me would be in that UOL Misfits series if they played clean games the whole way through without any throws or big mistakes from either team, because I feel like it's going to be messy. There's going to be a lot of kills. UOL, they like to take team fights whenever, wherever, even if they're behind, whether they're ahead, it doesn't matter. They just want to take those fights. And for Misfits, I don't think they're patient enough or macro-oriented enough. We've seen them struggle so much in the mid to late games. I don't think they have, as I said, the patience to kind of wait out and force UOL into those bad fights. But going to be a lot of fights.
There are going to be a lot of fights. It's going to be very bloody. Misfits started so strong, too, to start the split. And we were even being like, man, maybe they can hold up to some of these top-tier teams. But apparently not, because ever since then they've gone on this huge slide. And they look awful, especially in the late game. Once they have to be somewhat coordinated, it all falls apart. I mean, Power of Evil, he was a great carry early on, and he's kind of fallen off the map. And then Maxor and Alfara, I've been waiting for them to step up for a long time, and it just hasn't happened yet. So, I mean, anytime they have a lead, it doesn't mean anything. They can lose it pretty quickly. And against Unicorns, man, I don't know. The series can honestly go either way, but I do think that Unicorns in the late game are a tad more consistent. Not saying much, though.
Yeah, I think Unicorns are definitely the favorite, and they should be heading into this one just because, yeah, you've seen Misfits. They can win in lane pretty much across all the lanes. And then, yeah, as soon as it becomes objective focused later on, they just completely fall apart. I don't really know how Unicorns keeps winning when Exile continues to struggle so much like he has the whole split, but I feel like the team has just basically adapted around that and been like, all right, we're not going mid. Yeah. You're going to get camped. You may feed, but we'll get Samix fed, or we'll get Chachi fed, or just focus on the side lanes and completely ignore mid, and it's working somehow.
That's the bright spot for Unicorns, is that they don't have to rely on Exile to carry, because frankly, he can't, and he's just unable to. I mean, yeah, he's been pretty poor, and week in, week out, we kind of rip him for just feeding nonstop. But at some point, good on the Unicorns, I guess, to adapt and be like, you know what, Samix, Chachi, we're going to get you guys going, and Exile, you do your thing, whatever that means.
It is pretty much the opposite of every team in the world, where pretty much every team puts a lot of resources and focuses on mid lane because it's such an important role in the meta right now and how teams play. And Unicorns goes the other way.
They do.
So,
I mean,
it's unique.
The Unicorns have always been a unique team, especially going back to their early days. You never know what they're going to do, and I guess we're kind of going back to that. The Chaos style has returned, ladies and gentlemen. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Nostalgia, that's what they're going
Feels
for.
good. Feels really good. So, quick before we move on to North America, who do you think's going to move on? Is it just G2 Unicorns? See you later?
It's pretty hard to go the other way. I mean, maybe Misfits does do something crazy, and PoE super hard carries a couple of these games when he gets so far ahead of Exile or something like that. But in terms of the Splice G2 one, I mean, it's not Roccat, so G2 should be good. I mean, that blip where they lost to Roccat, not much of a concern. Aside from that series, they've looked pretty solid ever since coming back from Rift Rivals. So I think they'll probably take that in 5. Or not 5, 4.
In 4, yeah.
5 would be impressive, probably 4.
And then you got Fnatic and H2K waiting in the wings in the next round, and both those teams will probably advance. H2K looks a lot better lately. even though they just lost to Unicorns after the Unicorns lost to Vitality, so they keep their first round. Anyways, it's interesting. EU is a interesting place to be right now.
Yeah.
So
it always is.
Yeah, nice warm up to the NA LCS playoffs, which again, those could be pretty interesting. Let's start with Cloud9 against Dignitas, which I think is the better matchup of the weekend. But that's going to go Saturday at 3 p.m. EST. Yes, that's correct. So let's go lane by lane and really break down this matchup because
here we go.
I'm pretty intrigued.
Are you?
Yes. Because I really do think that either team can win this one, even though I'm leaning the C9 way. So in the top lane, you got Darshan and Ssumday. Ssumday was just awarded the first team thing, whatever you call that. I don't know. First team top laner. League.
Yeah.
NA. He's good. Yeah. He's the best top laner in North America.
Yeah.
But sorry, well, I'm talking about the wrong guys anyways. Yeah, I did say
you
Darshan.
Combined series.
I meant Impact. And this is like a Korean throwback to the old LCK days. So I'm pretty excited with this matchup. And man, Ssumday really gets involved in that kill participation. His teleports across the map have been really crazy. But with Impact, when he starts rounding into form, he looks fantastic. Especially right now. Like, it reminds me of 2016 when he got really good at the end of the series.
Top die,
exactly. Yeah. That meme was fantastic. And he carried it through playoffs, and C9 did excellent the rest of the way.
Yeah, my only concern with Impact maybe is if him not really playing any carry-type champions, like he hasn't played Camille or Fiora at all this split, and Ssumday's shown that he can play tanks, carries, supportive. He can play anything they need from him out of the top lane, which is super impressive, whereas Impact more focused on these engaged and tank frontline guys. So maybe that'll be a hindrance for them in champion select for C9, that is. Do you think Ray gets any playing time?
I was going to ask you that, but I don't know. That's an interesting question. We haven't seen him in a long time now, and unless they're preparing something, I think they can afford to keep Impact in there, especially the meta right now is like just play tanks. I think it's going to be the matchup for most of it. It's going to be a boring Shen vs. Gnar, Maokai's in there. So I'm not expecting too much exciting stuff.
I could see them, because it is a 5-game series, there's so many games, I could see them subbing in Ray maybe early, see how he does, and kind of, if he plays well, maybe throw him back in again, just to kind of change up their kind of play style and what they're sending out there in the top lane. And if he struggles, then Impact will go back in there pretty quickly.
Yeah, the way they used to do it was Ray would get game 1 and they would just alternate, and it was a pretty good system. But I think that was also back when I think Ray performed better on blue side and then Impact was better on red side. And it was just all this weird statistical stuff. But yeah, I think they'll stick with Impact, to be honest. Though, again, who knows what they've been doing this past week, getting Ray back in form after he was kind of not playing for a few weeks. So I'm sure they have something up their sleeves.
Yeah, either way, any combination of Ray and Impact, the edge probably still goes to Ssumday.
Probably
in that top lane.
Yeah, I would say so. It's close though.
It's pretty
close. It is close, but Ssumday is probably right now the top laner in North America.
And he's on the first team.
First team
league player.
Yeah, I don't know. It's complicated. Let's shift to the jungle, which is also kind of a unique matchup. Different play styles for sure. Contractz, this guy who can pick up that carry role, whereas Shrimp is more kind of passive and plays this invade control style. But for me, I really like Contractz. And it's just because he's so versatile in what he does. These past few weeks, he's been playing tanks and looked like fantastic on them. But before, he put a Keane jungle and did all this crazy stuff on Kha'Zix too. So I just think his champ select is a bit more varied, and he can get an edge over Shrimp.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown he can play tons of different champions. But pick and ban between these two will be pretty interesting because Elise and Lee Sin are the top 2 picks for both of these guys. I think Shrimp's a little better at Lee Sin than Contractz. That's like one of the few champions he's not been that good on, hasn't been great on. So that's going to be interesting for pick ban. But yeah, they're both pretty different, as you mentioned. But I think C9 kind of needs Contractz to be active a little bit more. You have Jensen in the mid lane, obviously, kind of doing his own thing. But I think the side lanes rely pretty heavily on Contractz because, especially these matchups, they're not going to outright win or stomp their lanes, I don't think.
No.
So I think there's a bit more pressure on Contractz to put in work.
Yeah, despite how well Jensen actually does in the mid lane, Contractz doesn't spend too much time ganking that lane. He really does focus around impact in the bot lane. So, yeah, I think Contractz is going to come out on top in this one. But again, champ select going to be very interesting. Shrimp can always pull out the weird Nunu and Graves thing, which he did back against C9 in their previous series. with mixed results. Nunu's always an interesting pick that can go pretty boom or bust.
Very hit or miss, to
Yeah.
say it. Another one.
Yeah.
Boom, bust, hit or miss. Good,
Well done.
bad.
Yeah, nice synonym.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good, bad is
Classic.
yeah, it's very, very creative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So yeah, do you give before we move on, actually, Contractz said he was a top 2 jungler in an interview this past week. Do you agree? Disagree?
I think he's top 3 for sure.
Who are you throwing in there? Xsmithy, I think, was the guy you
Xsmithy.
put above him.
Okay, that's the guy he put above himself?
Yeah.
I mean, who else could you throw in there? Maybe LirA. I think those are probably your top 3. So I don't have a problem with him saying that.
No.
Especially because if he didn't say he's number 1, so it's not like he's fully cocky.
No, people
So-
were like offended that he said this. After complaining that there's not enough going on personality-wise, all of a sudden they're like, he's talking trash.
And that's
What's happening? But it wasn't really, it's like someone asked him, hey, are you a good jungler? Yeah, I'm probably top 2.
Whoa!
Okay.
I can't believe he said that.
Yeah. Wow, you.
Would you rather him say, "Oh, I'm probably like 9th.
I think I'm good.
Think
Yeah.
I'm better than Grig." So
Yeah, that's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
Calm down, Contractz. Yeah, but I think I agree with him. I think he's an up-and-coming guy, and he's had a great split.
Yeah, and I think he's got a slight advantage in the jungle in this matchup.
Yeah, even though Shrimp's really turned his team around since Chaser up and died or something. He just disappeared one week and never came back.
I think Dignitas threw him in a cellar.
To the woodshed.
That's right.
I got you. Sorry, Chaser.
Rest in
Yeah,
peace.
that's too bad.
Never forget.
Never forget. Though I'm sure a lot of people have already. That's okay. So the mid lane is probably the most one-sided of the lanes here.
Yeah, I mean, Keane's
Obviously,
had a great split. That's
Yeah,
it.
Keane's
That's it.
looking really good. I mean, for Dignitas, when Keane gets going, the team performs really well. But he's going to need a lot of help going up against Jensen, someone who is lane dominant. And as you can see by that block of red, he leads the NA LCS in a lot of categories.
So we got
88
100
kills.
more kills.
Yeah,
than
that's all.
Keane.
CSD at 10 is probably the most impressive, 8.9 compared to negative 1.9. So that's like an 11 CS difference at 10 minutes. So Keane's not a great laner. Jensen is, I mean, pretty straightforward matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a little harsh on Keane, who actually has had a pretty solid season for Dignitas. And in a lot of these team fights, he's really carried them on champions like Cassiopeia, specifically that TSM series they played a couple weeks ago. He was really solid and basically keeping pace with Bjergsen, which is impressive when anyone does that. But Jensen is having an MVP caliber season and probably the best laning mid laner for sure in the NA LCS. So tough matchup for Keane.
Yeah, laning, mid laning for sure, and you can argue otherwise, whether, shot calling and team fighting, whatever. But in a 1v1 situation, Jensen's gonna solo kill you. He's done it to Bjergsen, he's done it to Nisqy, he's done it to everybody. So I mean, you gotta watch out there. I think Keane might be a bit vulnerable, and it's gonna force Shrimp to have to play around mid lane and just protect his guy a little bit more. But Jensen, if he gets his hand on like LeBlanc again, it's gonna get pretty ugly.
He's only got a 30 KDA in 2 games with LeBlanc, so
That's
pretty
decent.
good. But C9's kind of the same as Unicorns of Love, where they ignore mid lane mostly, jungle-wise, but it's kind of for opposite reasons. It's because they just know Jensen doesn't really need a gank. He can clobber lane without one, so it's a pretty good advantage to have.
Yeah, one mid laner is really bad, Jensen. Good, no, that's the wrong one.
Wow.
All this talk about good, bad, it really screwed with my head,
Yeah, well.
Exile, not the best. Jensen holds his own better than anybody else. So you can just let him sit there and kill Keane over and over.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping for some weird stuff from Keane. You never know. Though he's really calmed out lately.
I'm still waiting for those throwback picks, the
That's what I'm
Urgot and the
saying.
Hecarim.
Yeah.
How do you counter Hecarim mid? Now, there's actually probably a lot of champions that would
Probably Lucian
do
would be pretty
well.
good.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter.
Just not as Jensen has played a lot of Orianna, 16 games
a lot.
on Orianna, and he's amazing at the champion, but she's a little boring.
Yeah, that's the thing though. With the whole changes, I mean, they kind of nerfed all those main mid laners, but when you looked at the LCK plans, it's pretty much the same stuff still. You throw in like Lucian,
Fizz?
but one game on Fizz from but I think it's gonna be a lot of the same boring stuff. Orianna, Talia, Syndra, Cass.
It's been all control mages. Bring back some assassins, because that stuff is exciting.
If anybody, it could be Jensen with an Echo or a Fizz. He used to play both of those guys.
Oh,
So.
don't say Echo with Jensen.
Come on, he's over it. It'll be fine.
You know what?
Game 5 in the finals.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Let's go to the bot lane, Eric. Sneaky and Smoothie.
Yep.
Against Altec and Adrian. This is probably the closest of all the lanes for me.
Yeah.
I think Altec and Adrian have been wildly impressive after being like a mishmash bot lane after big leaves, Xpecial leaves, Laud leaves, or got kicked or whatever happened. But when you look at these supports, specifically Smoothie and Adrian, they're both incredible playmakers. They get involved a lot more than a lot of supports do, and they both supply a lot of vision. Adrian leads the league in wards per minute. And I think that's a big reason as to why Dignitas doesn't suck at Baron anymore, because Adrian actually puts the wards around. Yeah, they put vision around it, and they understand where guys are going to come from and just how to secure it. Do we turn? Do we finish it? So I think Adrian's done a lot to keep this team their head above water, especially when it comes to that Baron buff. And then Smoothie, with his Alistar and Taric picks lately, has looked fantastic as well.
Yeah, his Taric really been impressive. And obviously he's one of the, if not the only, vocal leader on C9, just kind of directing traffic throughout that whole team. But yeah, this bot lane, it's almost a toss-up. I mean, Sneaky and Smoothie have kind of been up and down, all split. At times, they've looked like one of, if not the best bot lane in the LCS. And then a couple weeks, you're like, oh, God, what is happening? Sneaky's getting caught out, getting ganked when he shouldn't really be getting ganked, and really just losing some 2v2s to teams they shouldn't lose 2v2s to. So I think just because of a bit of the inconsistency, I might give a slight edge to the Dig bot lane, but I mean, it's like 51-49. It's pretty even between these two, and it's going to be interesting to see how much the junglers favor going down there.
Yeah, it's going to be very polarizing depending on how much jungler pays attention to that bot lane, or if one guy goes top, one guy goes bottom. But yeah, I think one gank is going to really turn the tides in that bot lane.
Yeah.
Whoever gets the edge, going to take over the game from there. But yeah, the bot lane is probably the most intriguing matchup for me. That's where I'm going to put most of my attention, because you kind of know Jensen's going to beat up on Keane to a certain degree. For Keane, just has to survive and get through it without giving up any kills. Impact for Ssumday could be close, but I think Ssumday has a slight laning advantage. But the bot lane could really go either way for me. I don't know who's going to take it.
Yeah, and I think that's why junglers are going to be hanging out down there a lot, because they know that's kind of the swing lane. If you give Dig top and C9 mid advantages in each of those probably, then yeah, the bottom lane's the tiebreaker.
So it's close is what we've been saying. I do think this is a close series. I think it goes to, I'm probably only going to say 4, even though I could see it going 5 in favor of Cloud9.
Yeah.
But I still think Cloud9 takes it. Lately, they've just been on another level. Jensen hasn't been stopped in a few weeks. And then, again, Smoothie, I really love him getting Alistar and Taric. So I think Dignitas is going to have need to come up with something creative and pick band to kind of throw them off their game, because Cloud9, in the most recent weeks, looks like the best team in North America.
Yeah, I think this has the potential to be a close series, but I think it actually ends up not being that close. I think C9 wins it pretty convincingly, maybe in 4 games as well, but I think at least 2 of those games are pretty one-sided towards Cloud9. I mean, they've won 6 series in a row. They've really shown that they've gotten back on track. Yeah, and a lot of these lower-seeded teams that they should be beating, so it's not that crazy that they're beating them, but they're absolutely demolishing them, 2-0ing them, sub-30-minute games. They've really seemed to be back on track, and especially with Impact showing a bit more consistency in that top lane. The only way I see it kind of getting thrown off is if they do try and sub in LirA and try and do something clever, and then that kind of throws off their whole game plan. But I think they'll be okay.
I think so too. But I'm excited for this series. It's my series of the weekend, even though it's only 2 in North America. But that's
is it better than UOL Misfits?
Yes.
Are you including
that might be more entertaining.
Okay.
Because it's going to be bloody team fight after bloody team fight. But when it comes to watching C9 like probably systematically take down Dignitas, it'll be close. But like we mentioned a couple weeks ago, when C9 faced Dignitas, it was smashes back and forth. I think Dig smashed game 1, and then C9 smashed the last 2, and they were all like under 30 wins. Yeah,
like that's what again was impressive with a lot of the games C9 was winning. It was they get an advantage, they completely snowball that into a Baron or a bunch of towers, and then the game is over pretty quickly after the opposing team makes a mistake or they win a team fight or something like that.
Yeah, very systematic. So a series that might not be as systematic is CLG Envy, but we're going to get to that shortly. One thing I want to talk about before we get to the other series are 2 things, actually.
2 things?
2 things. First, you mentioned the first team team, first LCS team, I think.
I think that's what it's called.
First, we finally got it halfway through. The first LCS team was announced.
Yeah.
Tell them what it is.
You got Ssumday in the top lane.
All right.
Smoothie, jungle. Jensen, mid lane, believe it or not. AD was doublelift, and then Ole, however you want to say it, for support. What do you think of that?
I'm for it. There's a couple surprising things. I guess I would have liked to see someone else get the AD carry over doublelift. I think he's probably the best laner right now, but a guy like Cody's son, who's really turned it around, has been very impressive. Maybe the people who voted think that's kind of because Ole was part of that too. It just helped that bot lane as a whole, so doublelift as an individual got more votes or whatever. But I'm okay with everybody. There's no one where I'm like, he got robbed. Yeah.
Now, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure there's a limit on how many guys from one team you can have.
So you can't just have TS.
I feel like it might be 2. Again, I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on this. But I'm sure that's why you couldn't have a guy like Cody's son when you already have 2 Immortals guys on there. Yeah, originally I was kind of like, Smithy, okay. But then the more I think about it, there's not really anyone that I'd be like, wow, he's got to be in there over him. So that was really the only one that kind of stuck out to me. But yeah, when I think about it, it's like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, he's part of the transformation that really turned Immortals from 7th to 2nd. So it's hard to fault the choice in Smithy. He's not a flashy guy, but he really gets everyone else going. And this split, he's turned everything around for the team. So I'm okay with it.
So if with Jensen getting picked, does that mean he's definitely got a big MVP edge over Bjergsen now?
I think so. I mean, you can still argue Bjergsen all you want, people out there, but I think it's Jensen 100%. And it's not just stats, it's not just any of that. If he doesn't perform, his team's not going to win. And that's what most valuable player means to me. Like, if you take him off, what's the team going to perform? What's their baseline without that guy on the team? And for Cloud9, I don't think it's great. And if Bjergsen's not on TSM, I think they can still be decent. I'm not saying they're going to be as good, but I just think, if you take Jensen off Cloud9, they'll do worse than TSM without Bjergsen.
Yeah, and people are saying, Jensen is kind of one-dimensional. He only plays carry champions. But I think if he doesn't play carry champions, if he's playing Galio, I don't know, that hurts C9's chances at winning a lot more than I think Bjergsen would. Because, you have guys like Hanser and Doublelift that can probably still carry you games, whereas especially that top lane has kind of been up and down for C9, and so is their bottom lane. It's basically been Jensen who's that steadfast carry every game, so he kind of has to pick these carry champions. I'm sure the team, whether they say it or not, kind of feels like that. I'm sure he feels like that. So that's hardly a knock on him for playing carry champions.
How dare you carry your team? Selfish.
He is selfish. KDA player.
What are you going to do? All right, let's get to something a little emotional. If you're ready, get the tears ready. This past weekend, it was the promotion tournament, which means nothing. But Phoenix won against Unite to qualify for the LCS, even though they don't qualify for the LCS.
They'll qualify for the next few months.
Right, until they get... Yeah,
that's right.
That doesn't matter. But Phoenix won 3-0 to United. And then after that, there was an interview with Xpecial in which he got a little emotional. So check it out.
It's always sucks too.
It's all right. It's all right. Do you want to say anything to your teammates?
We all tried really hard. And it sucks to end this way. But I want to wish everyone the best of luck. I feel bad for all, Mike and stuff, being a rookie and for him to do so well. And then our team just wasn't able to pull together. For everyone that worked so hard, Ryu, Arrow, Zig, and the manager people, losing sucks. And it's been really rough for everybody. So we deserve this break, and I just hope everyone can come back stronger and just do even better next year.
Very sad. Xpecial has been around for a long, long time, and we know he's been an emotional player. You've seen it on TSM with some of his blow-ups and breakdowns. And then now, after what might be his last game with Phoenix, on a team he spent only a few weeks with, gets emotional after possibly saying goodbye. Maybe he's hinting at retirement or something like that. But yeah, it was just almost heartbreaking to watch someone who like cares so much about this occupation that a lot of people just refer to as like a game and playing a game week in, week out. He's showing you that it means a lot more than just that.
Well, yeah, especially just because he's invested so much time and effort and just into what he's done for at least 5-6 years now that he's been playing this game. And, you know, that whole turnaround with P1, although they still kind of...
They turned back around.
They turned back around. They did a full flip. But the original turnaround, a lot of that praise went to Mike Young, and deservedly so, especially by us. But Xpecial, of course, when he came onto that team, was a big part of that. And you can tell that as soon as that lineup of 5 guys came together, they clearly meshed together. And yeah, whether or not this actually is his last game with P1 or in general, maybe he just knows the roster is probably going to be completely different when franchising comes around. But either way, you can tell these guys really developed a relationship, and it's tough to watch.
It is tough. I don't think you have that breakdown unless you obviously know something about the team.
Yeah.
Like as you said, maybe they're just gonna break up, or maybe they have the knowledge that they're not gonna spend 10 million on franchising, which would not surprise me because Phoenix One is still kind of this new organization. So, anyways, sad to see Xpecial fall apart, and also tough on Overly, but good job for her handling that situation because I wouldn't know what to do if I was interviewing. I'd be like, oh, back to the desk.
Yeah.
But yeah, people who are like, she should be fired. I don't know why you're saying that. That's absurd.
It's her fault. It's her fault.
She made him cry.
She's bullying him.
You asked how he felt.
Yeah, it's not bullying. But yeah, I would have no idea. I would probably say, wrap it up. I would have no idea how to deal with that situation. So kudos to her.
Yeah. Let's go to CLG Envy. Before we do, we're just going to hit up this last playoff matchup, and then we're going to get to your questions. So cue them up. And our producer over there, Wes, is going to send them to me, and we're going to answer them.
Shoutouts to Wes.
He's got a name. He's not just Shot Colors eSports. So.
Well, that's what we all call him.
That's right. Very catchy.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So send them in. You have any questions, Eric?
Oh, I wrote them down. I'll save them for later for you.
Very good. All right, CLG Envy. On paper, it's just like, okay, Counter Logic Gaming should win, which is why they might not win.
That's anytime you say that with CLG going into any series, probably pick the other team.
Yes, exactly. Are they going up against Team Liquid? They should win.
I'm betting on Team Liquid.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be closer than people think. Then again, CLG 2-0'd Envy not too long ago.
Yeah, here's my thing with their matchups in the regular season. They played 5 games, and in those 5 games, Envy got 2 Barons and 2 Dragons. That's it, and that was in 1 game. So in 4 of their 5 games, they didn't get a single Dragon or Baron. That is pretty bad.
I'm assuming that was in the game they won. They got the 2 Barons and Dragons.
You would be
Is that
correct.
a correct
So there's a direct correlation
between
between Barons, Dragons, and winning. Would you imagine? Can you believe that?
I do not believe that. It's pretty absurd.
Yeah.
Gonna write that one down.
Yeah.
You should be a head coach. That's good stuff.
Maybe an assistant.
Okay.
Assistant.
Yeah. Don't jump right into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, CLG has controlled the games they played so far in pretty one-sided fashion.
Yeah.
Let's start on top lane, which is, I think it was last week where I was bashing Seraph because he's been terrible lately.
It was most weeks.
Yeah, and like in the 2 weeks, or the final week of the LCS, he went like 5-25 and 10. That's bad. In case you didn't know, that's very bad.
I'm just doing the math quickly. That is bad. Yes.
Yeah,
Can confirm. Yeah.
Equals very bad.
Yeah, and I think his champion pool is not great. He's basically shown that he's only comfortable or performed well on like Jarvan, Cho'Gath, Renekton. That's about it. I guess he's been decent on Shen, but I feel like there's a small amount of champions that he's actually comfortable on, so it might be an issue in a 5-game set.
Yeah, and I mean, Envy themselves as a whole team has struggled over the past few weeks. They've lost a ton of series in a row now.
They limped into the playoffs, to say the least.
Limped really heavily, yeah. It's like visibly limping into the playoffs, and that's why I don't think their chances are that good. But Darshan against Seraph, even for Darshan, he hasn't been great these past few weeks either. He's been struggling too, but Seraph is just someone who doesn't seem to learn when he keeps making the mistakes and keeps getting camped. He just keeps going back out there, teleports back up to his top lane, wanders out, hey, buddy, oh, I'm dead again. Okay, that's pretty sweet. So I don't foresee a great top lane matchup. I think Darshan's going to be pretty key in this series because Omar's probably going to go up there quite a bit to give him the old Dyrus treatment.
Yeah, I mean, Darshan has shown that when he gets ahead, he can split push the team to pretty much any win. He has kind of been off his game a bit the last couple weeks, but I still think overall it's probably the best split Darshan has played in the past couple with CLG, really, since they were winning LCS titles. So he's shown, yeah, everyone knows he can play those split pushing champs, Fiora, Camille, whatever, but I think he's really improved on his tank play this split, and now they have that option of picking pretty much anything they want, like a guy like Ssumday can do for Dignitas. So I think he's got a much deeper champion pool than Seraph, which will help him in this pick ban.
Yeah, Darshan can actually carry. With Seraph hasn't been able to do all split long. He's got 3 games with 5+ kills the entire split. Darshan has 14.
That's a few more.
So Seraph hasn't carried any games.
And
He's
I
just
know
there.
at least one of those is on Cho'Gath, where he pressed his ult at the right time and got the kill.
Once they're under 1,000 HP, just press R.
It's pretty hard to time him.
It's tricky. So yeah, I think that's a pretty one-sided matchup in the top lane. And the interesting one, which we spoke about when they first, or 2 weeks ago they faced off or something, was OmarGod against LirA in the jungle, which rookie guy against the first team jungler from last split, LirA, who everyone hypes up, and he is really good, but even lately he's kind of been slumping, and I think this team Envy relies just too much on LirA doing pretty much everything. If he doesn't get going, the team is screwed.
Yeah, the entire team plays through him, and I think CLG did a good job the last time these two met in basically shutting him down early. They were literally just running 5 guys through his jungle, level 1, to try and find him, and they got first blood, and then he was pretty much set back the whole time. But yeah, this is definitely the key matchup in this series. I think if Envy has any real chance outside of CLG doing CLG things, I think they need LirA to pretty much not only win this matchup, but win it very convincingly and kind of manhandle OmarGod, and then just help out every other lane basically and have winning lanes across. And the only thing with OmarGod is he's played 14 games. He's played 5 champions, and most of the times that's Gragas.
I think half the time it's Gragas.
Yeah, so if Envy focuses their pick ban and getting him on a champion he's not that comfortable with, and then put LirA, because he's got a pretty deep champion pool, he can always bust out something like a Nidalee, and then he's got a really big advantage on paper in the jungle that he can take advantage of. So I think Envy should really target a lot of their bans at OmarGod, more so to get LirA going.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I want to see either Gragas ban or first pick, along with other tank junglers getting banned out, like Maokai. So you really force him off of a tank, because we haven't seen Omar on a carry unless it was Olaf. That was a long time ago. And I mean, Olaf, I guess you can still play him, but it's kind of a stretch, I would say.
Yeah,
It's
not many people are
below.
playing him.
No, so I want to see them target ban Omar heavily and really go after him, because that seems like the weak point for me.
Yeah, so I think the edge here does go to LirA, just because, I mean, based on his resume with Envy, he's been pretty solid. OmarGod, still a relatively small sample size, so it's hard to say for sure. But both these guys making their playoff debuts, we'll see who can handle the pressure.
Yeah, hard to believe LirA's making his playoff debut, but you forget that Envy was so bad last year, despite LirA being so good.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So another impressive turnaround, not just Immortals. Envy, another new playoff team that you probably wouldn't have expected to be here after last split.
No, but Envy kind of looks like they did last split now.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Ooh, they one game. They have won 1 game in their last 9. That's not good.
No, it's not ideal.
It was against TSM though.
Hey, when Nisqy popped up.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nisqy, he's going up against Huhi in the mid lane.
What a segue. Wow.
Right?
That was
Smooth.
nice.
Thanks for helping me out with that
I got
one.
you.
Yeah.
We rehearsed that one.
Yes, we did. For hours.
Yeah.
It
We
took
were here very late.
Yeah. You kept saying someone else, but that's okay.
Yeah. We got there.
We got there. Nisqy looked really good at times, but I think he's still kind of vulnerable to getting out-pressured, especially against a guy like Huhi, who loves to roam around the map, especially if he gets his hands on Aurelion Sol or Taliyah, which I think is one of his better champions, just because he can really go to that top lane or bot lane in a second. I think Huhi's just going to out-pressure. He's not always a dominant laner, but he affects the map more than a lot of other mid laners do.
Yeah, I mean, you see it time in and time out that he's willing to sacrifice as much CS as he needs to go help out either his bottom lane or his top lane, or go help out the jungler. So he's really a team-first guy, and I keep talking about picking bans, but it's pretty important in a 5-game set, and just having that threat of Aurelion Sol, basically a free ban that you can have, and I guarantee you there's at least one game in this set where Envy doesn't ban it, and they're going to pick it pretty quickly, and then they'll realize why they should be banning that champion.
Right.
So it's almost like, I'm not going to call it a free win, but it's basically a free win when he gets Aurelion Sol.
Yeah, the one thing that CLG does do well, though, is even if it goes unbanned, they don't always pick it. So if you're the other team and you're like, oh, we have a strategy to beat Aurelion Sol, doesn't mean CLG is going to pick it just because it's open, which I think is really smart. Because I think at Split Ago, they used to do that all the time. It's like, oh, Aurelion Sol's open. Let's play it. But then you can strategize for it and get ready for it, game plan around it. But yeah, having like an extra ban against you that's just wasted on Aurelion Sol, that's invaluable. And that's something Huhi brings just because he's on a team.
Yeah, and especially if they're not banning it and then you're waiting until your second last or last pick, and then they can't really build a comp around it because they're like, they're going to pick it, right? And then they pick a whole comp around it and he doesn't pick it.
Yeah.
Or they don't build a comp and he does pick it, so that might affect a game or two. Obviously not the whole series, but I think this one, I might actually give the edge slightly to Huhi. Yeah, Nisqy has been pretty solid lately, but I think overall for the team dynamic, Huhi does more for his team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Nisqy's still ironing out some chemistry issues with his team. Again, he's still fairly new, took over Furion a few weeks back, and at times he looks great. He's definitely got the mechanical skill, but on a team level, I'm not sure he's there with guys like Seraph and roaming up to the top lane, going down to the bot lane to help Apollo and Hakuho. So I do think Hui's better, especially just on a macro scale. He definitely brings more to the full team than Nisqy does.
And I think he's had a pretty big improvement from splits before, just mechanically and like just hitting skill shots. Really, people used to make fun of him pretty hard on champions like Azir for some questionable ultis on some other guys, but I think he's really ironed that stuff out. And even CS-wise, when he's actually in lane, you know, that's one of the main reasons his numbers take a big dip is he's roaming around. But yeah, just CS-wise and skill shots, he's done pretty well this split.
Definitely ironed out the consistency issues that he used to have. So I'm pretty impressed with Huhi this split, and I think he's got a pretty significant edge over Nisqy. And now to the bot lane, a lot of people are going to think, oh, Stixxay Aphromoo.
Easy.
They for sure have an edge. But I think it's even. I think it's dead even in the bot lane, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that Apollo and Hakuho actually have the edge when it comes to lane phase.
Yeah, look at the CS difference.
That's insane.
Yeah.
They've actually shown that they can 2v2 with pretty much anyone in the LCS. So I think come lane time, I think they've actually got the edge. But CLG, Stixxay, and Aphromoo have such amazing synergy that they've shown throughout the past little bit. And really, as a whole team, I think when it comes to team fights, Aphromoo always has some clutch engages on pretty much any champion. Even if he's playing Janna, he'll do some flash tornado to start up a fight or something. And Stixxay is shown time and time again that his team fighting prowess. So lane phase, I got to give to Envy, but mid to late game, I think CLG's got the advantage. But it's pretty even.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. On a full scale, like you said, I think Stixxay's better in carrying a game. Apollo looks good in lane for sure with that almost 6 CS differential at 10, which is impressive, and you don't expect it from a guy like Apollo who's had such a negative rep for years and years and years. So it is close, but I think Stixxay's the better carry. And then for me, the question mark is Aphromoo, and if he gets too aggressive going for those wards, as we've seen kind of time after time this split, he can just get too caught up in his own head, I think, when it comes to like forcing engages and gets caught out. So for him, he's just got to kind of step back and really think things through, look at where his teammates are before he goes and makes these big plays. But I think it's even. I think it's close.
Yeah, and Aphro probably has had overall the worst split of a player on CLG, which is, well, I guess they're junglers kind
Maybe
of
Dardoch is worse because he's not on the team anymore.
Yeah, but Aphro usually like the key player. He still is one of the key players on that team, but I think he'll find his stride come playoffs. I think he's a guy you can look to in these high-pressure situations, and he's shown that he can deliver time and time again. So I think he's going to get back on track to CLG Aphromoo of old on these engaged champions that can just completely win you a team fight, take over a game. And he has shown that at times this split already.
Yeah, especially in these past couple weeks when he gets Morgana and Alistar. I really like what he brings to the team. Those kind of throwback picks that he used to play back in like season 4 and 5.
Yeah, so. Every time Morgana lands a snare on someone, it just hurts my heart because it feels like it's 16 seconds.
It is 16 seconds.
That's right. They changed it. 16 seconds. And hitbox is a little questionable.
It's very questionable. So is thresh hook.
Yes, that is more than questionable. That is bugged.
It is.
But yeah, after all, Morgana is always great to see him flashing in with the ult to engage. So
I'm with you. Before we get to your questions, send them in by the way.
Because they're coming.
They're coming.
Yeah.
Prediction time. Who do you got? CLG, Envy? I mean, look, you most obligatorily have to say Counter Logic Gaming, just because they are the better team.
Yeah.
They're undoubtedly the better team. But will they be the better team on Sunday is the question.
I think that CLG will win the series, but I think they kind of stress out their fans a bit, as they usually do, and this one goes to 5 sets.
Oh, no.
I almost want to say they'll pull off some kind of reverse sweep, but that's too much faith in a comeback from CLG. So I think they take it to the 5th set, and I think they kind of ride off that momentum of actually winning that, and I think they actually have a pretty good chance of beating Immortals, assuming that's who they would play, right? Yeah, they would play Immortals in the next round. I think they have a chance to beat them too, but Envy, they're gonna struggle more than they probably should, I think.
Yeah, that sounds like CLG. You know, it should be easy, but it won't be.
No.
Even when they win some of these games, they take way longer than they should to end them. They just like almost overly safe, like they're in their own head, and just super systematic. And I'm okay with being systematic and making sure you win, but like they almost always throw a team fight before they end the game. It's weird.
Yeah, and then they kind of just pressure into doing something because so long before that they're playing it calmly because they're like, oh, we don't want to throw this. We've got a pretty good lead. We'll just play it slow and win. And then they play really slow and they're like, okay, let's just go. And then it doesn't work. So they just got to stay cool, you know. But not too cool.
Not too
like
cool.
Room temperature. That's what they got to do.
It's weird because I don't feel like CLG is a team that tilts anymore either. Like I think they're a pretty relaxed team, but man, like, decision making sometimes is just extremely questionable.
Yeah, and you know they've probably got to have some nice cheesy strats after their bye week of some level 3 ganks or level 2 ganks from junglers or some cheeky level 1 invades. I want to see a Blitzcrank and a really cheesy invade. Some flash hooks over terrain or something. That's what I'm looking for. Because Blitzcrank level 1 is fun. Whatever league you're playing in. Professionally, bronze. Probably the most fun in bronze.
Yeah.
But he's permabanned in bronze. So.
If there's a Blitzcrank on a team, you have to invade. It's a rule.
Yes.
But yeah, even if you get Morgana as Aphromoo, buying level 1 is...
It's probably a safer call than
insane.
Blitz, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's time for questions.
Woo! Question time. You said CLG, right?
I don't know if I answered, but yeah, I'll take CLG in 4.
4.
They're going to throw a game away, almost inevitably. But CLG should win, and then the Immortal series will be very interesting. Would have been more interesting if it was Dardoch against his former team, but whatever.
Well, soon enough, every other team will be his former team. So you'll always get that match.
Good point. That's a very good point. I'm excited for that. Audience questions. A lot of people throwing in their predictions as well.
Yeah.
G2 and 4, Unicorns of Love and 4.
A lot of 4s.
A lot of 4s. All right. Here we go. Jose Mendez. Look ahead to semifinals and predict Immortals versus CLG and TSM versus C9. Assuming that what we think is going to happen happens. C9 versus TSM in the semis is almost criminal.
Yeah.
That should just not happen because I think it's the best possible finals matchup. I think they're both the best teams right now in North America. Immortals is close, but I would really love to see it in the finals. I think that one would definitely go to 5. And I don't know who would win, to be honest with you.
If that is the matchup that comes out, and yeah, we both expect that to be, I think CS9, I almost said, you know, that hybrid team.
Yeah,
I think C9 would actually take that one in 5 as well. I just feel like Jensen has such a vengeance from the last split, and he feels like he's solely responsible for that series loss, which he definitely wasn't. They're not in that game 5 without Jensen playing amazing in that series. So I think C9 will actually dethrone TSM if they get there and deny them that 10th straight LCS finals.
Yeah, I do like Cloud9 too, and even for the longest time, That just fell down, by the way. That's pretty fascinating.
There it goes.
You want to grab that, Eric? That's good. No,
No,
we'll leave
it's
it.
staying there.
All right. See, we have some nice sticky tag right there to keep it up. Fell down. Anyways, that's fun. Good job with that, Eric.
Pretty sure you put that up,
That's fine.
so...
What was the question? I got distracted. C9.
TSM.
Yes. I've
Who
been a fan
wins?
of C9 in terms of them actually winning a split for a long time. I thought they would do it in 2016 summer. I thought they had a good chance in 2017 spring. But right now, I think they have a great roster. Now that Contractz isn't on his rookie split, I think he's really come together with this team. And I do think that I have them as the favorites to win the whole thing.
Ooh.
As far as Immortals CLG goes, I think Immortals wins pretty handily.
I had no belief in CLG.
No.
I think if CLG can escape this Envy series, which, again, sounds like a ridiculous statement, escaping that series, they should win handily. But I think if they get a bit of momentum going and then they're feeling confident going into that Immortals series, I'm not sure these buys are actually that great for some of these teams because, yes, you have more time to prep, but you don't know which team you're prepping for. So I think CLG will ride that momentum and actually be able to upset Immortals. I don't know how, it's not that huge an upset, I feel like. The CLG Immortals won. Sure, Immortals is probably favorites, but I don't know how heavy they would be favorited in that one. I mean, this roster doesn't have much playoff experience. It's basically Pole Belter and Smoothie who have playoff experience.
Yeah.
I mean, Flame obviously did back when he played in Korea, but I think CLG would actually win, though. It'd be close, though.
Really? You're taking CLG?
That's right.
All right.
But we'll go way more detailed into these
Oh.
when the matchups are actually set.
That's right. Next week.
That's right.
There you go. Dylan Casol. Hey, Matt and Eric. That's us.
Hey, Dylan.
What are some pocket pick episodes you'd like to see?
Ooh.
One that's on my mind is Adrian and Soraka. Even Janet.
Yeah?
He's one of very few to just pull those out even when they're not meta.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Yeah. First off, I want to say some of these pocket picks, I think like Double If did a Lucian one.
Yeah.
That wasn't a pocket pick.
That was
at
meta
that
at the time.
He
Yeah.
just played Lucian most games.
Yeah.
That's not really a pocket pick. Like the Aurelion Soul one for Huhi. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an actual
Pocket pick is something you play from time to time.
Yeah, you
Not
can,
every
but
game.
it's like your specialty. You can always play
Right,
it. You
right.
can always go back to it. You don't always, but you could.
Yes.
Let's see. What are some interesting lanes? Maybe someone who plays Draven. I want to see a Draven pocket pick. Sneaky kind of did, but he already had a pocket pick.
Yeah,
He
Freeze
can't
was
have
the guy
another.
to do that.
That would have been a good one. Would be
Would've been
Draven
a
for
good one.
Freeze,
Yeah.
but he is rest in pepperoni somewhere.
Pocket picks have kind of fallen by the wayside.
Yeah. I think before Kled got really popular, a
Zig
guy
with
like
Kled.
Zig, yeah, that would have been a good one.
Yeah,
But
good call.
yeah, I mean, like a lot of guys' pocket picks now are just super meta.
Yeah.
Like
It's unfortunate.
Syndra, I guess she's been meta for a pretty
Has there
long
been a
time.
Darshan Jax one? 'Cause she'll
Yeah,
still
that
pull
could be
up
a
from
good
time to
one.
time.
Yeah,
Not bad. There's some good ones.
yeah.
Do them
Jax
right.
is always fun to see.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tiny Man wants some Worlds predictions. What NA teams make it and who they think will win. That's who we think will win.
Like the whole world.
Yeah, so first, what NA teams make it? Cloud9 TSM.
It would have to be a pretty big collapse for either of them to miss it. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how TSM could.
Yeah, there's a way, but it's complicated.
Yeah, and C9 would basically have to lose to Dig and then
Not make it through Gauntlet.
lose the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
I don't see both those things happening. So yeah, TSM, Cloud9, and then you're pretty much, I would say it's between Immortals and CLG, right?
Yeah.
And
What about FlyQuest?
the Gauntlet, the Miracle Run?
That's it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think NA wants FlyQuest representing them at Worlds if they want to showcase their best teams. I mean, I think CLG can beat Immortals, so I think they could make it.
Yeah.
I think they could beat anyone but TSM and C9 if they're on their game.
Which
Is a pretty big
is
if.
like 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably go Immortals, but same difference.
They're the same team, CLG and Immortals.
exactly. Yeah.
There's no differences.
And then Worlds. I mean, SKT right now looks amazing.
They
again.
look pretty scary.
Oh, look, they were just sandbagging in the
Yeah.
LCK to play more games in the playoffs to warm up for.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So
wow.
they got more rhythm heading into Worlds.
Wow.
It's just, I mean, I like seeing all-time greats in any sports, anything competitive, but it'd be cool to see a three-peat, but also I feel like that'd be a little boring to see SKT win again. But I can't see, we don't know all the Korean teams that are actually going to Worlds yet, but I'd be pretty hard-pressed not to pick one of those teams from Korea who are going, regardless of who it is that goes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry, I was hanging out.
How'd you get that back?
Wow.
Wow.
Look at
what
that.
speed.
What a camera switch.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh,
Good try.
I shouldn't have even done it. What a
Good
mistake. Brando wants to know, any team's going to show more level this year at Worlds? Are they going to do better? I think so.
NA teams?
Yeah.
I think they should get a team out of groups.
Represent.
That's doing better.
Yeah.
Again, it's pretty much all in the draw who they get in their group. But I think TSM or C9, I think whichever one of them gets that first seed, because I think that'll actually make a difference in what their group is. I think they should be able to get out, but probably as a second seed in that group, and then they'll likely be scooped when it's the quarterfinals. They'll be scooped when they got to play a top Korean team or a top Chinese team.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
You really don't have a chance. Sorry, it's unfortunate.
But out of groups,
yeah.
I believe.
Groups is always hype.
Yeah.
Upsets, wildcard teams, beating North American teams. Maybe let's change that this year and not have that happen. But
It's pretty interesting.
yes.
I love how roller coaster each week of the group stages are. You'll look like a couple years ago when all these NA teams are going 3-0, 2-0, and you're like, oh my gosh, all three are going to get out. And then the next week, they don't win a single game. So it's just so polarizing, the 2 weeks, and you really need to look at both. You can't get too hyped, and you can't get too down on your teams. You got to wait the full 2 weeks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's make some Gauntlet predictions for Philip Paul here. He wants to know who we think is
Okay.
going to win Gauntlet. So let's assume, just for the sake of simplicity,
Yeah.
that C9 and TSM are both already at Worlds. That leaves Immortals, Dignitas, CLG, FlyQuest, of course,
Of course.
in the Gauntlet.
Right.
Envy wouldn't qualify. So those are your four teams.
It would be Immortals waiting at the end. They're in the last best of.
It probably depends on standings and who wins matchups, but we'll say
Right, I guess
Immortals
it-
at the end with CLG and then Dig and then Fly.
FlyQuest. So FlyQuest only has to win 3 best of 5s to get to Worlds, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to stick to my consistency of what I've been saying. I think CLG, if they play to the best of their abilities, which again is a big if, I think they could beat any of those teams in a best of. So I would like CLG in that one.
Yeah, it's CLG or Immortals. I'm not going to go crazy on
You like Dig? You like Dig in this?
I think they can actually surprise people and maybe make it to the finals of the Gauntlet, but I don't think they can win it.
Okay. I think, I don't know, any of those teams are heading in as your 3rd seed for NA, assuming, again, TSM and C9 are
Respectable.
in there.
Good showing.
That's going to be a tough group, man.
Yes, it would be a tough
You're
group.
going to have, they count as a wild card team. So you're not going to have a wild card team in your group for sure. You're going to have one of the Korean teams, most likely one of the, and these are all higher seeds probably, maybe a Chinese team or someone like Flash Wolves and then an EU team. I don't know. It'll be tough for whoever comes out of the Gauntlet, but I like CLG.
All right. You're really right on CLG today. That's fine.
Riding them all the way to the 3rd seed at Worlds, yep.
Yeah. Pushki, any chance TSM doesn't go to Worlds? I think there is a way in which they have to lose their semifinals matchup, and then Cloud9 doesn't win the split and they finish 2nd.
Well, who would have to win the split? Does it matter? It's just
Like, if
as long
Immortals
as it's
wins the
not
split-
C9.
But if C9 wins, they automatically go.
Right, so as long as C9 doesn't win, it doesn't matter who wins, as long as it's not C9, is what I'm saying.
Right. TSM wouldn't go. Yeah.
Okay, and
But
then
they
they'd
would-
have to not win the Gauntlet
Or the semifinals.
or the semifinals. So
Yeah.
they have to lose their first series. C9 has to lose in
In the finals, I think. And then they have to lose the Gauntlet. It's a lot to lose it.
That's a lot of losing.
So it looks pretty good for TSM.
Again, it would be a huge collapse, and Reggie might single-handedly slap every player on his team if they failed to qualify. So
Cool.
I think they'll be okay.
Let's do which EU teams. Bring a lot of questions about which EU teams are going to make it to Worlds.
Okay. I mean, G2, I'm going to say pretty confidently, even though they have to play this extra quarterfinal.
Yeah, they still got those
matchup,
points.
They'd have to pretty much lose right away. And then again, you'd have they're pretty much in a similar position as TSM, where a lot would have to go wrong for them to miss out on that. So G2, pretty confident they'll go. Fnatic, again, a team that finished third last split, so they got a fair bit of points, and they're already into the semis. Pretty good chance they win their semis matchup, so
sure.
They're probably going on points if G2 doesn't. And then the third one, people think UOL need to get there because, you know, they've kind of had some playoff runs and always come up short in Worlds. I'd rather just see H2K there again. I mean, Febivin has had a pretty spectacular split.
He's been very good.
A little under the radar compared to just how dominant Fnatic has been across the board. But, I mean, Febivin and that top half of H2K have been pretty great all split. The bot lane, a little more up and down, but I'd like to see H2K at Worlds again.
Yeah, I'd like
Semi-finalists.
I know, it's crazy. I want to see H2K there too. Because, I mean, the Unicorns, I don't know what to expect from them. It could be what we've seen for this, you know, finish the EU LCS, which isn't overly entertaining. And H2K right now is just playing on a better level, and I want to see the best teams at Worlds.
But Unicorns could.
They could be.
Do some wacky stuff in that group stage and maybe surprise a few couple teams that wouldn't be expecting whatever they throw at them. So they could be very interesting at Worlds, but I don't think they make a deep run in this playoff. So
I got you. Someone disagrees with you. Steph Vargas thinks CLG is super weak right now. They will lose to Envy and not go to Worlds. OmarGod will be their undoing. He hates you. That's what he said.
He said he hates me?
No, he doesn't.
Well, I love him because I love everyone.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, it is possible that I said CLG, they got to play to their own standard, to their best of their ability. And there is a possibility. I mean, I think it'll go to 5 against Envy, and it shouldn't. It definitely shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
I don't think OmarGod will really be their undoing. He's just kind of been there so far. He hasn't carried these games. He hasn't really lost them any. I think it's still too small a sample size, 14 games. And a couple of those were kind of subbing him in randomly while Dardoch was still on the team, so those hardly even count. But I think he might prove some people wrong that he can play something other than Gragas.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of flack, which I don't think he deserves. Again, he's a rookie. He's just learning the way things go with this bye week 2 going into the playoffs. I think it definitely helps Arnaud to straight up strategy for Envy and just execute it. So I think it'll be fine. Again, he's not going to carry too many games, but
I mean,
he's fine.
CLG is a team that always has Worlds aspirations, so they either had to be extremely confident in OmarGod to sub him in the latter half of the season, of the summer season heading into Worlds. They either had to be really confident in him, or they just really didn't want Dardoch on the team and were willing to hamper their Worlds chances just to get him off the team. I don't know which one it is, but I want to say that they're confident in him and his teammates believe in him, and he seems like a standout guy and a team-first guy, so I think they'll make it work.
Yeah. Friendly CLG. You got to be friends.
Yeah, you got to be friends first, teammates second.
All right.
Something else third.
Logic wants to know, he wants you to look into Rick Fox's pocket for a second. Has Rick Fox made enough money in his career to theoretically pay for franchising without a partner? Will Echo Fox survive? It seems like he's pretty okay to, you know, have that much money. He's not just in League, he's in all kinds of other stuff, all the fighting games, Street Fighter, Smash Bros. He's got players in a lot of stuff. So I think Echo Fox will be back, even though they haven't had success, period, in the LCS.
Yeah, I think they've done a pretty good job of branding their team since it's been here, and it hasn't been there that long, really. So I don't think it's necessarily all that money needs to come out from Rick Fox's pocket, per se, but I mean, I think they've built up enough of a following and financial gain. Again, I have no idea for sure. They could be going bankrupt as we speak, and they're all panicking in a room. But I think Echo Fox will be a team that sticks around when the LCS franchises.
All that basketball money.
All that basketball money. He played a while ago. I don't know how much money he actually
I don't know
made.
either. Let's hit a couple more questions.
Sure.
Because it is 3 o'clock.
Ooh.
Yeah, but we'll get a couple more in there. Unless you got somewhere to be.
No. We go beyond our hour just for these questions.
Very good. Just for y'all.
Y'all.
Yeah.
Forgot you're a Southern boy.
That's right. My southern drawl just extrudes from me, yeah. Nukison, do you guys think it's possible that the third seed will lose in the wildcard tourney and that they only have 2 teams? Because if I recall, because of their poor showing previously, the third team actually has to go through this tournament with all the wildcard teams that actually get into Worlds. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works, but I heard something about that.
If that, yeah, I didn't even think of that. We'll have to look into that. If that's the case, then that would be the full CLG thing to do, is to like beat Immortals or something, get into the Gauntlet, beat Immortals, get into this wildcard tournament, and then lose. That would be the full CLG circle, but yeah, we'll have to look if that's actually how they have to do it. If they do, that's very sad.
That was at MSI, wasn't it?
That they lost the...
That there was like...
oh, yeah.
And
TSM
almost didn't make it into MSI because...
Gamma Bears.
The Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Levi.
TSM Levi.
That was scary.
It was scary. That was, weird. All right. A couple more questions for you, Eric. N4K Gaming, is LPL better than North America? Historically speaking, it's pretty even. Yeah. NA's always been the one team to lose to wildcard regions for no reason. But they've been okay at beating the Chinese teams. I think it's like a 50% win rate or something against China. So in that respect, they're pretty close. But I mean, the LPL also has way more wins over Korea than North America does. It's just hard to tell because you don't really have much to go on because they play each other twice a year.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I'm not too up to date on my LPL, on the strength of the teams there. Yeah. As far as I can tell, I think I looked at the standings the other day. There's kind of a couple teams. I think OMG and RNG are kind of near the top there, and
World Elite there too.
Yeah, World Elite as well. So I think I feel like the top, it might be pretty similar, kind of evenly matched. Teams like TSM and C9, I think could maybe be even against some of those top teams in China. So again, it's kind of hard to say. I think they're pretty close, but again, I could be totally wrong. Yeah. One team could completely stomp the other. I'll have to look into the LPL a little more.
Yeah, there's a lot of regions. Especially leading up to Worlds.
Yeah.
Time for the LMS research.
Yeah, you got to look up all these teams heading into Worlds so you actually know what's going on.
All right, one final question for you, Eric.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, you found a real good one, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Here we go. Do you think NA or EU will make it further into Worlds?
Oh, further than one another?
Yeah.
What about the same? I think...
It's not very fun.
I can't see either going out of quarters just because you almost need to get a first seed in your group to get out of quarters because then you'll have a favorable matchup, i.e. you won't play a Korean team, most likely. Because I feel like 3 of the 4 groups, Koreans coming out as a top seed.
Likely.
That 4th group maybe, actually I don't know how they'd avoid a Korean team, so. I think neither team gets the semis, but for the sakes of hot takes and making people yell at me, I'll say TSM will go one further and they'll win quarters. Top 4. Last time NA's been in top 4?
Wasn't it like season 1?
I believe it was season 1.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. Long time ago.
Classic.
Way back when. And it was,
This is the part where we got roasted and someone says there was a different time. But I believe it was season 1.
I don't think there's ever been any team in the...
Nope. Cloud9, when they got that bye, started in quarters, lost to Fnatic. Season 2, they lost. TSM lost to Frost, I believe.
Yeah, sounds right.
In quarters. So.
Wow, good memory there, Eric.
Here's the historical one. TSM goes to semis. I don't actually fully believe that.
I don't either. That's okay. Well, that's it.
That's it.
Big playoff weekend. C9.
Gonna be spicy.
CLG winning probably. And then, of course, EU matchups. SKT versus KT as well. Lots going on.
A lot going on the weekend. If SKT 3-0s KT, don't even do Worlds.
Just cancel it.
Just cancel.
Just hand SKT some more skins in the trophy.
Yeah, but don't hand the skins for about 6 to 8 months.
You
gotta wait.
Yeah,
You gotta wait.
All right. Anything else you want to say? You good?
Thanks for all the questions.
Good questions.
And yeah, check out all the playoff action this week. Be back for more playoff action. This is the peak. Of league.
That's right.
Tournaments. You got all these playoffs across all the regions heading into Worlds. It is the best time to be paying attention to competitive league.
It's very hype. So we're not doing another stream this week. Sad face. But on Monday we are doing a new show called Get Boosted, where we bring you some talk from some pro players.
It's based on Matt's solo queue.
That's right.
Get boosted.
Yes, get boosted.
Yeah.
Who wants to get me some boosted? But yeah, so on Monday we're going to actually have an interview with a pro player. Stay tuned for that. Pro league player. Actually plays pro.
That's quite the tease. You don't know who it is yet.
No, you don't. And then Wednesday we'll be back to talk about the semifinals in all the regions. All the good stuff.
All that good stuff. So come in. Check it out.
Come in. So Monday at 3 p.m. EST. Wednesday at 2 p.m. EST for 5v5 Live. And that's it. That's it for Eric. That's it for myself. We will see you next week. Enjoy the playoffs.